Okay, now I'm coming in bar 7 of this 12-bar slow blues, picking up from the end of bar 6, which was the 4 chord, moving back to the 1 chord. So right there, I got a full step bend. This is the end of that previous bar. And that half step bend on F up to F sharp, the flat 3 to the major third, hangs over into the beginning of bar 7, which is nice, resolving back to the major third, back to the 1 chord. That's why it sounds good. And then this is another classic Albert King style lick. It's sort of referencing major pentatonic for a second against minor pentatonic. Albert plays minor pentatonic probably 90% of the time, 80% of the time. Every once in a while there's 1 or 2 notes that make reference to major pentatonic. This is one of those examples. So I'm hammering from the 5th D to E, but then right back to minor, flat 3 to root. Set 7, bar 8 is mostly resting. 1, 2, 3. Coming on beat 4. It's bar 9 on the 5 chord. So this is interesting because we're bending up to the root note, going down the scale with using 2 bends. And as I said before, you know, Albert wouldn't have fretted it in this way, so we're coming up with a way to do it on a standard tuned guitar that falls in the most logical and comfortable way. But because he played differently, it does make licks that were easier for him in a way, because they fell with his the strings being backwards and tuning down, and just, you know, there was a logic to it. In playing that way, it does seem different or make it more difficult trying to recreate it this way. Alright, now right here in bar 10, so this is an example of using the B string to wind the string up to 1.5 and 2 whole step bends, because it's too difficult to get there on the high E string. You could try using a very light string. This is in 11th, so it's difficult to do. But he used lighter strings, and even then, if you had a 9 on there, bending it 2 whole steps repeatedly, you run the risk of breaking strings, you know, all night long, which is not something you want to do. If you move over to the B string, it can handle those bends a lot better. So again, you got 1, so I'm coming in on the upbeat of beat 1. You have it's a triplet feel. We're in 12/8, so it's 3/8 notes per each beat. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. So you got 1, 2. So I'm using 1.5 step bends, or I start with a full step bend and release, followed by 1.5, full, and then 2. So there's all those different amounts of bending, which is very vocal-like. Ending with those little half step bends. And this is nice, sliding down with a minor third, B flat, and an F flat 7. And then the phrase wraps up with a classic Albert style wrap up. So moving back down to 3rd position, pull off from 6 to 3 on the B string, land on that 5th fret C and vibrato it. And then moving up here, using that flat 5 to 5 with D flat to D, and the F on top, so I have a double stop and I'm allowing both notes to ring together while I vibrato it. So when you put the whole chorus together, it's got a lot of power. The song is called Blues Power. That's what it comes from, and it's it's an apt description of Albert King's style of playing. Very bluesy with a lot of power. You want to pick the strings hard, pick with your fingers as much as you can, and use very large, wide vibratos. Wide, slow vibrato is important to get the most singing quality out of the phrases. That's the way to emulate Albert.